In this session, we practice different steps, what we have discussed in session 1 with national accounts data. So please open your data file in Stata format. And again, take the two variables, GDP at market price and private final consumption expenditure as a measure for aggregate consumption expenditure. So we are using the both series, GDP at market price and private final consumption expenditure, to practice different steps in estimating VAR, in performing different tests using VAR structure, etc., and try to understand the meaning of the results we have. So this is the Stata file we have. Keep your log file on and first of all set the time variable TS set. So in my data set, time variable is denoted by time. We are considering two variables, GDP at market price and private final consumption expenditure. So first of all, let we generate a new variable in log format, G ln underscore GDPMP is equal to ln of GDPMP. So we have generated a new series in log form of the GDP at market price. Similarly, for private final consumption expenditure, PFCE, generate ln underscore PFCE is equal to ln of PFCE. So we have got two variables in log form. One is log of GDP market price, another one log of private final consumption expenditure. Now you have to keep in mind before starting your session with VAR, VAR conventionally considers the stationary variables. So when we specify a model in terms of X is a vector of variables. So conventionally it is assumed that X is stationary, that is each and every variable involved in the vector are stationary. So if the variables are stationary, we can directly estimate the model we have specified in theory. But there is no guarantee that the model to be stationary always, or all variables may not be stationary. So in that case, what to do? So before estimating a VAR, we have to look into the order of integration of the variables we want to incorporate into the model. So as in our case, log of GDP and log of private final consumption expenditure. So whether they are stationary or non-stationary, we have to find out first. And in the last class, we have already examined the behavior of these two series, and we observed that both series are integrated of order 1, I1. So they are non-stationary series. Okay. So the series you want to incorporate in a var may be stationary or may be non-stationary. So first of all, you have to decide how to formulate a var. For var formulation, you have to take into account the nature of the variables. So how to decide the basic specification of the var? First of all, we have to look at whether the variables are stationary or non-stationary. So there may be two options, either stationary or non-stationary. So if the variables are stationary, if in our case they are non-stationary, so we will discuss this separately. So if the variables are stationary, we can structure the var in level form. That is, if we have x1, x2, x3, the variables we want to incorporate into a var, and x1, x2, x3 all are stationary. So in that case, we can specify the model in terms of x1, x2, x3 at the level. Okay. But if the variables are non-stationary, as in our case, if the variables are non-stationary, in that case, there are two possibilities. One possibility, they may be co-integrated and they may not be co-integrated. So in the case of a non-stationary series, if the variables are co-integrated, we have to treat them separately, as in the case, the variables non-stationary and non-co-integrated. So in the case of non-stationary series, we have to check whether they are co-integrated or not. If they are not co-integrated, in that case, we can specify a var by taking their difference values. So suppose x1, x2, two variables we have, we want to formulate a var. So if x1 and x2 are stationary, we can specify the model in terms of x1, x2, etc. But if x1 and x2 are non-stationary, then we have to take the difference value of the variables. For example, suppose x1 and x2 are integrated of order 1, I1, and they are not co-integrated. Okay, so if they are not co-integrated, in that case, we have to formulate a var in terms of their difference value. That is, if they are I1, we have to take the first difference, simply because for I1 variables, after taking first difference, the variables become stationary. So after converting into a stationary series, we can incorporate them into a var structure. So this is the basic point you have to keep in mind. So in estimating a var, we have to take care of the stationary series always. If the variables itself stationary, we can use the variables intact in the level form. If the variables are not stationary, in that case, we have to take the difference. How many difference we need to take? That depends on the number of unit roots present in the series or the order of integration of the series. So if they are I1, we have to take first order difference, and we use the first order difference value into our var structure. Okay. In the case of non-stationary series, and if they are co-integrated, in that case, the model becomes a little bit complicated. In what sense? In that case, if the variables are co-integrated, in a var structure, we have to incorporate additional component, what is called the error correction term. Because if you try to remember the Engel-Ganger's theorem, Engel-Ganger's theorem suggests if the variables are co-integrated, they could be represented in error correction mechanism. So error correction mechanism will be operated or will be effective if the variables are co-integrated. So in the case of a non-stationary series, if the variables are co-integrated, then we have to incorporate error component term into a var structure. And in that case, the model becomes vector error correction model, or in short, VECM, vector error correction model. So I am repeating the formulation of the var once again. So if the variables are stationary, we can directly use the variables into the var structure, simple var or unrestricted var. if the variables are non-stationary, we can use them in level form into the unrestricted var. In that case, we have to take the difference. How many difference we have to take? That depends on the number of unit roots present in the series. So if they are integrated, number of integration defines how many difference you have to take. So if they are integrated of order 1, we have to take first order difference. After taking the difference, you have to decide whether error component to be incorporated or not. So at this stage, if the variables are co-integrated, in that case, you have to incorporate error component term along with the first difference series of the variables. And the model becomes vector error correction model. But if the variables are not co-integrated, in that case, we do not need to incorporate the error component term. So in this case also, we have a unrestricted var or simple var, but in terms of the difference variable, not in terms of the level of the variables. Okay, is it clear up to this point? So now in our case, log of GDP, log of final consumption expenditure, private final consumption expenditure. So suppose hypothetically, they are not co-integrated. Although they are co-integrated, we have shown in the last class, the variables are co-integrated. So in that case, the appropriate model will be vector autoregression with error correction. But for practice, suppose they are not co-integrated. So we do not need to incorporate error corrected form, but we formulate the var in terms of the difference variable. So how to start? The basic command in Stata is var, var. Okay, so after writing this command, you have to put the variable name, log GDP, market price, log private final consumption expenditure. So these variables are in level form. So when we use this level form, when the variables are stationary. So for practice, you can also look at the results. If we use the level form in this var structure, the nature of the results we have. So just for practice, you can carry out this command, although it will not be appropriate because you have already tested that the series are non-stationary. So in the case of a non-stationary series, we cannot use the variables in level form. So in that case, in the case of a non-stationary series, we have to use the variables in first difference form. So first difference can be denoted by D dot. You know, D dot indicate the first difference. So D dot log GDP market price and D dot log of private final consumption expenditure. Okay. So this is the command. So if you execute this command, you will get some results. But before using this command, suppose first we start with var basic. So what is the difference between var and var basic? In the command var basic, the basic model is used. That is, this model is restricted in many sense, because in that case, you cannot incorporate any kind of restrictions if you have in your model. Suppose you want to impose some restriction that a particular coefficient to be treated as 0. So in that case, you cannot use var basic. So in that case, you have to use the command var, not var basic. But if you do not want to use any restrictions, or if you do not need to impose any restrictions, so in that case, use the command var basic. So var basic space the variable name D dot log GDP market price space D dot log private final consumption expenditure. Why we use D? D indicates the first difference. Why we use first difference? Because the variables are integrated of order 1. So in that case, in your var structure, you need the first difference value. Okay. So after entering, you will get the result like this. So you will get simultaneously two results. One result shown in the output window So look at the output window first. So this is the command we are using. var basic, and the result starts from here. So it provides you vector autoregression. The sample used from 1953 to 2018. In our data set, we have from 1951 to 2018. So we are not using the first 2 years, 1951, 1952 values in our model. Why? Because we have considered here T-1, T-2, 2 lags we have incorporated. How we have incorporated 2 lags? We have not considered the appropriate lag length before estimating this model. But by default, when we use this command, the stata in background determines the optimum lag length by using AIC, HQIC, SBIC. So they are the criteria by using the optimum lag length. So first one is AIC, HQIC, as well as SBIC. So on the basis of this criteria, the optimum lag length in the system is determined at 2. For that reason, we have taken the regressors up to T-2. Okay, so as we are using 2 lags, so obviously the first 2 values will be missing in your regressors variables. For that reason, the sample data used in estimation starts from 1953 to 2018. The method of estimation used here, maximum likelihood. And in maximum likelihood, the test statistics use the log likelihood. On the basis of log likelihood, we have determined the model. And in this part, you have some information on, just look at the column heading, equation, parameters, root mean square error, R square, chi-square, probability greater than chi-square. So under the heading equation, you have 2. First one is D underscore log GDP MP. Second one is D underscore log private final consumption expenditure. Okay. So in the as we have 2 variables in our var system, we have 2 equations. Equation 1, we have considered first difference of the log GDP value as a dependent variable, and the independent variable or regressors are those. So one regressors is the lag dependent variable, lag length 1, lag length 2, and second regressor is the other variables you have used in your var system, that is the log consumption expenditure, T-1 log consumption expenditure, T-2 not log consumption expenditure, D dot log consumption expenditure, because just look at here, LD dot. So LD dot means the lag values in difference term. First lag 1 in the first difference, lag 2 in the first difference. So your variable here is delta log private final consumption expenditure, T-1, delta log private final consumption expenditure, T-2. So this is for T-1, this is for T-2, and this is the intercept term. So this part of the window provides you the basic result of the var estimation by using maximum likelihood, and this part actually summarizes the basic statistics on the basis of which you can identify whether your model is best fitted or not. So look at these statistics first. R square is very low, 0.027 for the first equation. R square is 0.135 for the second equation with the corresponding value of chi-square. And if you look at the value of probability of chi-square, the first equation is not significant. P value 0.76. Not significant means you are using the regressors in your model. They are not significant because they cannot explain the variation of the fast difference of log GDP. Okay, but in the second equation, the p-value 0.03. So as it is less than 0.05, so it is significant at the 5% level. Okay, so we can say the second equation in your VAR structure, second equation means where you have treated fast difference of log consumption as a function of fast difference of log GDP in year t-1, fast difference of log GDP in year t-2. This is one set of regressors. Another set of regressors, fast difference of log PFCE t-1, fast difference of log PFCE t-2. So this equation may be significant in terms of the chi-square statistics because the p-value 0.0357 suggests that the second equation may be significant at 5% level, but the first equation is not significant. In other words, when we treat GDP as a dependent variable and the rest as the independent variables, this equation will not provide you a meaningful result. Okay, but the second equation where fast difference in log consumption expenditure is treated as a dependent variable and GDP as an independent variable along with the lag dependent variables also as a regressors. So this equation may provide you a meaningful result. Okay, in terms of the overall test by using the statistics chi-square. Why we are using chi-square? Because the model is estimated in terms by using maximum likelihood. So in the case of maximum likelihood, we can test the overall validity of the model in terms of the likelihood ratio test. So in likelihood ratio test, you know, the statistics used what is known as the chi-square statistics. So in terms of the chi-square, we can judge whether the overall model is valid or not. So on the basis of that, we can infer at this stage, the first equation is not valid at all, at least in statistical sense, but the second equation may be valid. Okay, why we call may be valid? Because here, the results you have got, the estimated coefficients in the first column, standard error in the second column, Z statistics in the third column, probability of Z statistics in the fourth column. If you look at the value of the Z statistics, so probability of Z statistics, so all the coefficients are statistically insignificant excepting the constant term. Okay, so what does it mean? The first difference in period t-1, first difference in period t-2 for both the variables cannot explain meaningfully the first difference of log private final consumption expenditure. Okay, but intercept term is significant. What does it mean? Intercept term provides you the conditional mean value of the dependent variable when the regressors are 0. So if we exclude GDP, if we exclude the lag values of the dependent variable, then the first difference of the log of final consumption expenditure could be explained in terms of the intercept term. Okay. Now, why we get this kind of result? Theory suggests there should be a relationship between consumption expenditure and national income. Okay, if we go through the basics of determination of national income by following simple Keynesian model, you have a model y is equal to c plus I bar. I bar is the autonomous part of the private investment. So in that case, national income should depend on aggregate consumption expenditure. Similarly, if we think about the consumption function of Keynesian type, in that case, private consumption expenditure or final consumption expenditure should depend on the national income. So theory suggests there should be a meaningful relation between consumption expenditure and national income. But we have not got any meaningful relation in terms of this VAR model here. So why we have got this kind of inconsistent result, not following the theory? It is not inconsistent if we look at closely the nature of the variables we have used. We have used the first difference of log GDP. Now we need to understand the meaning of the first difference of log GDP. Theory suggests log GDP depends on log consumption expenditure, or log consumption expenditure depends on log GDP. But here we are using the variables in first difference form, and you know the first difference form of the log values of the variable provides you the growth rate. So what are the meaning of the variables we are using? The dependent variable in the first equation is the growth rate of GDP, and the dependent variable in the second equation is the growth rate of consumption expenditure. Similarly, the regressors, the independent variables, are also in growth terms because they are in the first difference, D. So first difference of log GDP in period T minus 1, that is the growth rate of GDP in period T minus 1, and this variable indicates the growth rate of GDP in period T minus 1, T minus 2. So in this VAR framework, what we are incorporating as a variables? The variables we are incorporating simply in a growth terms. So although the theory suggests, the basic macroeconomic theory suggests national income and aggregate consumption expenditure should be related, but there is no theoretical logic behind the growth rates of GDP and growth rates of consumption expenditure should be related. Okay, so there may not be a meaningful relation between growth rate of consumption expenditure and growth rate of GDP. For that reason, we have got this kind of insignificant result. Okay. Now here we have carried out the command var basic. This command provides you simultaneously the basic form of the impulse response function. So have you seen the impulse response function? Is it visible to you? The graphical form.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Impulse response function is visible.
So the graph is visible.
Okay, okay. So I'm talking about the graph. Okay. So just look at the graph. You have 4 graphs. Okay, and the graph suggests. So if you put some impulse, some shock involved in any variable. So
So,
yes,
so the graph is not visible in your screen though.
yeah, in my
স্যার আরেকবার কমেন্টটা লিখে একটু ইয়ে করুন, এন্টার দিন, চলে আসবে।
yes, now it is visible. Okay, so there are 4 graphs you have. First one, var basic d dot log GDPMP, d dot log GDPMP. Second one, var basic d dot log GDP.
Sir, it is still not visible on your screen.
Oh, it is not visible in your.
No, sir.
Okay, so I have to share it. But we have.
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But now invisible in my window. Okay, whatever may be. So I have some idea about the shape of the impulse response function. So you have four figures. Four figures. If you look at the upper left figure, so it indicates log GDPMP, log GDPMP. Okay, so that means if you put some impulse on the lag values of GDP, it has some effect on the current value of GDP. So it provides the nature of the dynamics of the model. And in a figure, D log GDPMP, D log PFCE, in this figure, you have put some impulse on the consumption series and the result is transmitted to the GDP series. Okay, so in this way, you can interpret the results.
স্যার আপনার কথাটা কেটে গেছে আরেকবার বলবেন
Could you please repeat again?
So in the four figures, you have just try to look at the headings of the figures. In the upper left figure shows D dot log GDPMP, D dot log GDPMP. Is it okay? So this figure indicates if you provide some shock in the GDP series beforehand. So how the GDP in current period is responded. Okay. In the second figure, D dot log GDPMP to D dot log PFCE. So if you provide any shock in the consumption expenditure, how it is transmitted to the GDP series. So if you provide any shock or external shock in the consumption expenditure, it would be transmitted to the GDP series because of the structure of the VAR you have used. So in this way, you have four type of analysis in terms of the impulse response function. So impulse response function suggests you how your series will be affected if any kind of external shock is provided in the model. Okay. So as we have not got here the meaningful result, we have to search for the alternative way, but we have 3 minutes left. So I am just summarizing how you can proceed. So as you have shown in the last class, the variables are co-integrated. So our basic model should be vector error correction model. Okay, and in vector error correction model, the command will be simply VEC, VEC. VEC indicates vector error correction. So VEC D dot log GDPMP, D dot log PFCE. If we carry out this command, you will get this result. Okay. So it starts from here. So we are putting the command VEC, the variables D dot log GDPMP, D dot log GDP PFCE. So now look at the basic information. Both equations are now significant. The p-value suggests, p-value 0.000 indicates that the both equations now become significant, because beforehand when we are carrying out VAR basic is not appropriate model for your case, because you have already seen in your last class the variables you are using are non-stationary as well as co-integrated. So if the variables are co-integrated, we have to incorporate the error component mechanism to get a meaningful result. That's why previously we have not got any meaningful result. Okay, but we have shown this to practice how you can carry out the VAR basic command. Nothing more than this. So in this model or in these variables, our appropriate command will be VEC, that provides you the result vector error correction, and this part suggestive, the model becomes significant. The second part you can incorporate, and the most important thing is the first row, this part. this part provides you the coefficient for the error component term. Okay, so if this coefficient is negative and probability is 0, it indicates that if the actual value deviates from equilibrium, it will be moving towards equilibrium through error correction mechanism. So the statistically significant as well as the negative value suggests that the error correction mechanism will be effective in this case, because you know equilibrium is a theoretical concept, so the actual situations may not be exactly in equilibrium at any point of time, particularly if you provide any shocks or the system got any shock from the outside, the system could be deviated from the equilibrium. So in that case, the system will be moving towards the equilibrium if this sign is negative through error correction mechanism. And if the variables are co-integrated, the error correction mechanism should be effective according to the Engel-Granger's representation theorem. Okay, so this kind of results we have got now, and the lower part of the model provides you the co-integration equation. So this is the form of the error correction. So this is the dependent variable GDP, this is the independent variable consumption expenditure, this is the constant.
স্যার আপনার স্ক্রিনের সাথে আপনার বলাটা না মিলছে না, মানে স্ক্রিনটা মনে হয় আপনার স্টিল হয়ে গেছে।
না না, এই তো স্ক্রিন মুভ করছে না একদম নিচে,
না ওই ভার দেখাচ্ছে।